Morning. Good morning. How are you doing? It is a Wednesday, hump day, happy chat. I'm Valerie Shepard. I'm coming to you live from the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery, where we teach you how to master yourself in your life so that you can exquisitely manage whatever your life brings your way. And let's face it, on any given day, our lives are bringing us all kinds of kooky stuff and all kinds of wonderful, magical, mysterious, awesome stuff. And the way we handle those things is going to be coming from inside us. So self-mastery is around, how do I make sure that the conditions are present within me as who I am, as who I'm choosing to be, would be an even better way to say it, with who I'm choosing to be in my life in this moment. How do I create my life as a causal nature, co-creating with the divine, create that which I truly wish to experience, that which I truly wish to express. It's your expression into your life that creates the experience of your life. It's your interpretation of what's going on in here, out there, interrelated, the interconnectivity of myself meeting the world, which creates my world. Not everything in the world is in my world. And how do I navigate that? How do I bring things in and release things out? Cycle of reciprocity, give and receive, in and out. How do I do that? Well, if you're like many people I know, there are a lot of questions in there. And as long as I keep living, I still dance with those questions. Seneca, one of my favorite quotes is by a Stoic, Roman dramatist named Seneca. And the quote is, as long as you live, keep learning how to live. And I find that juicy and delicious. Some people find that tiring, frustrating, boring. And I've been there as well. I wanted to get to my happy place and then hang on for dear life and make everything stay that way. But the truth is, we know that's not how life works. It doesn't work that way. The universe, the multiverse, everything in it is shifting at all times. We are in an energy field, and energy is constantly moving and changing. It's vibrating at different rates. And so to have the little girl wish, my little girl wish, why can't I just get to my happy place and have it all just stay that way forever? In fact, is not possible, nor would I really enjoy it when it showed up. So what I've been doing is maturing myself into this place where I recognize shift is going to happen. The world is constantly shifting. And so my dance gets to be about consciously choosing how I'm orchestrating myself into my life. And yeah, that can be like, that can seem like a lot of work. It can. I can choose to experience it as, oh my gosh, it's so hard. I can choose to experience this as, oh, I'm never going to get this right. I can choose to experience it as, come on, Valerie, what's your problem? Why don't you just get it, figure it out, move forward, figure that thing out. I could do all of those things, and I guarantee you I have. I guarantee you I have. And then I started consciously making choices that would take me to a higher vibration, a deeper place within me where I actually knew, why was this stuff happening that way? Why was I making those choices? And so that's where my book came from. That's why I do the Hump Day Happy Chat, to help you figure out, where is this coming from, so that you can make conscious choices. It's about consciousness. Raise your consciousness, go higher in your vibration, That's how we get to bliss here in the Bliss Collective. It's about you being what a dear friend and master teacher who has been a mentor to me has said, Satyen Raja, I quote him a lot on this. You are a conscious being of choice. When you wake up and start to consciously choose, you actually are activating that aspect of you. It's always there. It's always been there. You always have been causal nature. And here in the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery, we're about helping you activate that at your deepest levels. So welcome to this week's Hump Day Happy Chat. If you're looking at the title, why do I procrastinate? I'll put off thinking about that till I have a sip of my tea. I think I'll have another sip. Oh, and let me see. What else can I say? If you're here watching live, great. Pop in your questions. I'll do my best to answer them. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. I would love to know what your insights are, how this is unfolding in you. This topic came from you all, sent in responses to our last poll, and you said procrastination was a topic that you would like to talk about. So here I am talking about it. I would love to know how it helps you, how it serves you. That's why I do this. It's not to hear myself talk, although I could fall in love with that. It's really about how does what I say support you to transition from something that's not working for you as well as you'd like to something that is working for you in a much better way. Remember, you can always private message me for sensitive subjects that you don't want to put into the public purview. I can make case studies. I answer questions where I completely change the dynamic and the name to talk about the root cause. If you are in our Bliss Collective group, it helps when you engage. Something that you're experiencing, I guarantee you, you're not alone. Other people want to hear about it. Other people could benefit from you being willing to put yourself out there, put yourself in here in a more engaging way. And I would love to dance and play with you. I mean, we are a community on a mission to create more peace, love, and joy and freedom on the planet, starting with ourselves. Like, how do I change what's going on with me? If I want to see the world shift, then I, as a being in the world, need to look at how I might be holding the world in its old vibration and how I could shift myself and contribute a new vibration to the world, therefore changing the world and certainly changing my world. So here we go. Procrastination. So the Oxford Dictionary calls it the action of delaying or postponing something. Wikipedia goes a little bit deeper and says unnecessarily and voluntarily delaying or postponing something despite knowing, here's the major important part, despite knowing there will be negative consequences, a negative consequence for doing so. Psychology, the field of psychology calls this space of making a choice to do something even though you know it's not going to serve you, an irrational delay. Procrastination as an irrational delay. And I put in my little title blurb, well, the question, why do I procrastinate? And the answer is, it depends. It depends. Not all procrastination is bad. So that's the first thing I want to say is that the way this topic came up and the way it typically comes up, it's a horrible thing that I'm doing and I wish I would stop, but I don't know how. I wish I could get better at time management. I can't tell you how many people come to me with time management questions. I've got some other Hump Day Happy Chats on managing time. So if you need those, let me know and I'll shoot you which Hump Day Happy Chat link you should take a look at. Time management, on the surface, it seems really simple if I would just organize things and write things down and if I had an app that would tell me, and I've gone through all of that. And in the end, those things are really, really helpful. And if your problem with the subject is at the surface level, you can get a lot out of those kinds of tools and tips. And you know my mantra, life is meant to be lived on a deeper level than the surface. The deepest aspect of us, the deepest aspect of us is what's really running us. It looks like it's on the surface, and we might want to fool ourselves into believing that with the rational mind. We come up with intellectual alibis for things. Those are surface. It's a way to actually escape and avoid going deeper, which is interesting that we're having a conversation that I've taken to escape and avoidance, because that's what procrastination can be. The irrational delay is actually about avoiding something. It's actually about escaping something. Again, not completely bad, not wrong. There's nothing wrong here if you're a procrastinator. There is something that's trying to get your attention. There is something that you might want to choose differently if you really want the outcomes that you say that you want. If you really want the outcomes that you're willing to go after, you might want to make some different choices. My nose is running. Excuse me. I'm not going to procrastinate any longer on wiping it, even though I'm on camera. You might want to make a different choice. That's the only way your life gets different. If you want your life to be different, you've got to be different as the master and commander, mistress and commandress, as the liver of your life. The person who lives your life, not the liver as in the organ. So let's break this down a little bit. So people tend to think of procrastination as a bad habit. Trying to achieve something, they fail. Procrastination the next time comes up because they don't want to experience that failure again. That's the escape avoidance. When you're trying to achieve something and you can't or didn't, and then the next time you put it off. So research on procrastination confirms that it's related to past experiences of negative outcomes. Past experiences of negative outcomes. So what does that mean? It means that there's an aspect of the real irrational delay of procrastination, which is rooted in fear. Okay, I would love for you to hear that word, fear. And whether you do the whole acronym, false evidence appearing real, or whatever one you choose, the bottom line is, in the Bliss Collective, in the Hump Day Happy Chat, in the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery, and everything that I do in my book, my teachings are all around making peace with fear. There's nothing wrong with fear. Truth of the matter is, fear will save your life. So there is a healthy way to engage with your fears. And it's not to always back away. When it's emotional fear, it's about leaning in, coming a little bit closer to it, looking very carefully. What does it have to say to me? What's it trying to tell me? What can I hear in this fear? What can I hear in this fear? We'll talk about that later. Important to know, the research says people who are inclined to more procrastination tend to have lower life satisfaction, lower achievement, and here's a yucky one, not so great health, because of the stress dynamic that comes from the fear dynamic that is inside the dynamic, escape avoidance dynamic of procrastination. Are you seeing the multi-layers here? Which is why you've sometimes got to go deep. So here's something really important. When I said at the beginning, and I said in my little blurb in the announcement, procrastination, it depends. Why do I procrastinate? It depends, because it is a form of delay, but not every form of delay is procrastination. Get that? Procrastination does mean delay, but just because you're delaying something doesn't mean you're procrastinating. So that's number one. right? Release yourself from this negative idea that you're a procrastinator and recognize that we all have to delay certain things. So for example, my office is in a loft and there are steps to get up here and my body doesn't do steps very well. And so I'm an economizer around how often I'm on the steps. And so I actually have a basket at the bottom of my steps. I put stuff in it to come up the steps with me. I monitor how heavy that basket is, make sure my hands are okay so I can hold the rail in case my right side doesn't support me and I need help. I have spilled cups of tea on the stairs, not so great when it's green tea. But so that's a form of delay. I delay coming up the steps several times by putting things in a basket to serve me as I go up. Delay, is it procrastination? No, not according to the psychological definition that we're using in this conversation. It's a form of strategic delay. Another form of strategic delay, you might lump all of your bills together. They come in a couple times and you put them together and deal with them as a group. Strategic delay. You're being powerfully masterful with your time management. You're lumping things together that are considered similar. You are dealing with them in the fastest way possible, given the time. That's a strategic delay. Big difference. I don't get very much important mail and I have to walk down steps outside. I've already told you my body and stairs, and I have to walk out to the mailbox. So sometimes I delay going to pick up my mail for 3 days. I might go twice a week instead of every single day. Strategic delay. It serves my physical body and I feel more comfortable and safe because I'm not on the stairs quite as much. Get it? So think about how many times you're lumping your strategic delays into something called procrastination. Now remember, procrastination, irrational delay, strategic delay versus irrational delay. Why is it irrational? Because you know that you know that you know putting it off is making it difficult for you. In some way, it's actually potentially harmful to you. There's a deliberateness in strategic delay, and in irrational, there's an escape avoidance that isn't always deliberate. And here's how it can play out. Here's how it can play out. Let's take taxes, because we're at that time when potentially taxes are coming into play. Paying your taxes. This has always been a place where I do procrastination. I tell myself a story about how much time it's going to take, and I don't have all the papers done, and I have until April 15th anyways here in the United States. So, why should I focus on it on January 2nd or January 3rd or January 20th or January 31st or February 5th or February 28th or March 15th? Are you getting it? You hearing it? So I rationalize from a place that isn't always making sense. My intention is get my tax return done as early in the year so that I can get the benefit of any, get the benefit of any payment coming back to me as early in the year as possible. But that's not what I end up doing. And I don't know that I'm not getting a tax refund. I just don't ever do the work to find out, and I just put it off. So that's an irrational delay. I want the benefit of doing the work early, but I keep putting off actually doing the work, so the benefit doesn't come to me the way I tell myself I want to receive it. And I used to hear this with students all the time. I really want an A on this paper. And so I put it off until I only had 3 days to do it. And once I got into it, I realized I needed to do a lot more research than I thought. And I actually could have written a brilliant paper if I'd given myself more time, but I didn't. And then they come to me and they want me to fix it. And I'm like, well, sorry, I'm grading what's here. not what you intended to do or what you could have done but didn't. I hear from students often, I hear from clients, but I work really good under pressure. Like I put myself under pressure. Maybe that's true. I haven't found any data that supports that. And there's an opportunity cost. So people who feel like if they put themselves under pressure, they'll finally get it done. I would ask you, look at how you feel for the next 5 days, especially the day after. You put yourself under immense stress to get something done that you said you wanted to do or that is necessary. If you want to get a degree or you want to get a certification or you want to have a great relationship, you want to go on vacation even, there's some things you have to do. And the longer you put them off, the more stress you're putting on yourself. How are you doing that? Because in the back of your mind, there's a tape playing. It probably has words like this. I really should get to that. But here I am watching TV. So even while I'm telling myself I'm enjoying the moment, watching my favorite show, or I'm just getting a laugh because I feel a little heavy right now and I need a laugh. But then I watch myself watch episode 3 in the series. And then I watch myself get up and get something to eat because all that TV watching has made me hungry. And then I watch myself take a nap because TV and a full belly equals nap time for Valerie. Are you seeing what I'm saying? So even if you get that paper in, and let's say you do well and you get an A- on it, okay, what's the opportunity cost? What could you have done? What did you miss in that crunch time that you could have enjoyed, that you could have experienced? How did you feel the day after? And the day after that? And the day after that? And I can't answer these questions for you. There's no right or wrong here. There's no right or wrong. There's a do you know how you're doing you? Do you know who you're being when you think you're being you? The procrastinator, the irrational delay person, is not the heart and soul of you. It's a conditioned pattern of escape avoidance. It's a conditioned pattern of escape avoidance. And at some level, it's not serving you. Maybe the task goes undone to a point where the escape avoidance becomes emotionally painful. Even though we tell ourselves we're avoiding it and getting some really cool things done, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. Easier and more fun things might encourage you to like, keep it on the side burner or the back burner. Momentarily, whatever that means, that's a relative term for what's going on with you. But procrastination is always signaling avoidance. You're avoiding something aversive. Like I don't want to experience that. I think it's going to be too tough. If I have this conversation with my partner or my sweetie pie or my child or my boss or my roommate, my sister, my parent, if I have this conversation, it's going to bring up conflict. I'm going to feel bad. I'm a people pleaser and I don't want to have to do what they're going to want me to do. There can be all kinds of things underneath the surface, but procrastination is about fear of having to deal with an aversive situation. And so you avoid it by occupying your thoughts, occupying your actions with something you'd rather do instead, and that is available to you right now. So it's kind of like a coinkydink. Just happens that my favorite show is on TV right now. Coinkydink. Just happens that my friends are going to have a beer. Coinkydink. Just happens that I could actually do something else. My bed. I notice I need to make my bed. And in this escape avoidance, you're not actually taking into account what could be done in the future. Okay, so let's just do a little bit of a recap here. Procrastination involves delay, but not all delay falls into the world of irrational delay that we are characterizing as procrastination. Deliberately creating time pressure as a motivation tool is procrastination, not necessarily strategic delay. Procrastination is when it's in your best interest, you think it's in your best interest to put something off because you have an emotional discomfort with the task. So that's a key to notice. Am I emotionally uncomfortable? If I'm emotionally uncomfortable, that may be why I'm telling myself a mental story about how the procrastination is going to serve me, this irrational delay. When I really want what's at the end of the activity, I just am afraid to get into the activity because I've got some emotional things going on. To really get beyond procrastination, there's some steps, and I want to give those to you. It's not as difficult as you might want to make it. It's not as difficult as you might want to make it. So first thing, okay, first thing for me, is always going to be kind of wake up to what's going on. Notice yourself. I can't do it for you. A roommate can't do it for you. You have to take personal responsibility to notice your emotional states and to notice what's triggering them, what's driving them, whether they're serving you or not to make them bad or wrong, not to make your conditioning bad or wrong. It's just what is. So first thing is, where am I? How much am I doing that's strategic delay? And how much am I doing that's irrational delay? So that's number one. Notice what you're doing, who you're being. If 80% is strategic delay, that's groovy. If 80% is irrational delay, maybe not so much. Then you go into the irrational delay, whether it's 80% or 20%, doesn't matter. Go into whatever the rational delay is. What is the fear about? So when I was telling you earlier about taxes, my fear is always that I'm going to get at the end of the tax return and I'm going to owe thousands of dollars. Thousands. I'm not a tax expert. I don't spend a lot of time on money management. Not saying that's the best thing to do, working on that somewhere else. I don't focus on it. I'm into some other things. Could be irrational delay at getting stronger at that task of money management. Are you hearing the layers here? So taxes may be showing me a bigger picture, but I have to be willing to lean in and go, what is that? In love, what is that? In curiosity, what is that? Like I look at a pizza or a meatball or sushi. So lean in. What is that? Irrational or strategic? Then get into the irrational and identify what is it that you're avoiding. So I just said mine was, I'm afraid to notice. I'm afraid to get to the end and find out I owe money. So I want to put that off as long as possible. So what is it for you? What are you afraid of? What is it that you're delaying so that you can avoid it? Escape avoidance behavior is fear, emotional fear, fight or flight. You're flighting away or you're freezing, doing nothing. I don't know what to do. I'm just, The next thing is take a different action, make a different choice. The best choice you can do, especially if the fear is still there, is a baby step. Take a baby step. You don't know how to write the whole paper, write an outline. You're not sure about the outline. Can you write the title? You're not sure about any of that. Can you write a couple things about how you might go about it? I'll go to the library on Tuesday and I'll research these 4 things. And after that, I'll touch base with my professor and let her or him know this is the way I'm going about it. You don't want to tackle a big subject with somebody who you think is going to have an adverse reaction to that subject. So you might go to them and say, I'm wanting to talk to you about something, and I'm afraid. I'm afraid of creating a conflict, or I'm afraid of creating something negative between us. And so I just like to say, could we schedule some time? And could you be open to having me start this conversation with you in compassion, knowing that I'm a little bit afraid? See the changes you could make? If you notice, I always procrastinate with cleaning up, but I love a clean house, but I just don't feel like it. Pick one thing to do. One thing. If you're like me, that one thing will have you cleaning for 2 hours. And at the end, you'll be like, this is what I wanted. And then you can give yourself the reward. But if you just manage to get started, one small step in the right direction, or in the optimal direction, in the release direction, release yourself from the hold of that fear that's stopping you. Irrational delay, fear is stopping you. One little step builds confidence, helps you see, oh, that wasn't so bad. Have you ever done that? Every time I've gotten much better because I've been so focused on it. And now I don't put off my taxes. I just tell myself, here's my window. I'm going to do it between this date and this date. And by that date, I've been done every time for like the last 4 years, three or 4 years. Because once I start doing it, I notice that story I've been telling myself about the adverse thing is not happening. It isn't as bad as I think it is. I do keep good records. When I need to find something, I find it. When I need an answer to a question, they're all over, all online. I can get all kinds of answers, and I can go visit a tax professional. And oh, by the way, I can afford it. I make it so that I can afford it. Tell myself a new story. And I notice that when I avoid my avoidance behavior, I feel more happy. I feel more peaceful. I feel more free. I have more disposable time, whether I have to pay a tax bill or I'm getting a refund. Either way, I feel really good that I got it done in a way that supported me. And throughout all of this, it's never once and done. It's not once and done. You're not going to make a decision, I'm going to stop irrationally delaying, and then it's over. Remember how I've talked about my belief about people who quit something cold turkey. It looks like it's cold turkey to the outsider, but to them, they're making the decision over and 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 over. Over and over, they're making the same decision to elevate themselves, to shift their experience, to create more peace, love, joy, and freedom within them so that they can express that into the world. So keep noticing yourself. Keep asking the question, being curious. Was that a strategic delay that actually contributed to my life? Or was that an irrational delay that actually detracted from my life, detracted from my goals, detracted from my desire, my mission to have more bliss? And then keep looking, keep recommitting, and keep making the decision over and over and over and over. Got it? If you need to go a little bit deeper and you need to have a conversation, or you'd like to have some talk about it, private message me. I can help you. It's really about, in my 4-step process, and remember, you can buy my book on Amazon, or you can get the PDF, a downloadable free PDF of my book at happytobeme.net. happytobeme.net. Again, you don't have to fret. There are resources. And if I'm not the right resource for you, I travel in a community of really profoundly capable, transformational wizards. And I can put you in touch with someone who might be better suited if what I'm offering isn't jazzing you up, isn't making you go, woo, yeah, I gotta have some. So that's really if you can't get started. But everybody should be able to watch themselves making the decisions. Remember, fly on the wall, no judgment. It's not, oh, here I go again. It's like, oh, here I go again. Let's see, what do I feel? Where do I feel it? What do I think is going on? Lean in, get lovingly and compassionately curious about what's underneath the surface, past the intellectual alibi of I work better under pressure, to wait, do I like pressure? I've never, by the way, never spoken to anyone who's told me after they tell me they work better under pressure that they like working under pressure. I've never put those two pieces together. So if you're somebody who thinks you work better under pressure, but you hate working under pressure, this is an important hump day happy chat for you. You've got to get below the surface to the why. Why I do things that don't make me happy? Why am I making choices that are delaying my own gratification? Get it? Awesome. It's been my distinct pleasure to share some insights with you. I would love to know what I've said that works for you, what doesn't work for you, what you need more on. I'm formatting these talks around what you tell me you want to hear. And I'm bringing in wisdom from a number of places. A lot of what I talked to you today about the data and the psychology of procrastination came from a website called psyche.co. So you can go there and find even more information. Okay, I'm procrastinating. No, I'm not. I'm making strategic delay of putting off. Okay, let's see. Is it strategic delay or is it procrastination? It might be a little bit of both. I'm strategically delaying signing off in case I have something else that wants to come through. And I also know that there's a part of me that wants to spend more time with you and wants to delay saying farewell. So I always close the Hump Day Happy Chat with the Karanaya Metta Sutra, which is the prayer of loving kindness from the Buddha. And it goes like this. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be safe. May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature. And may all beings be free. I said that a little backed up, a little differently this time, but I think the Buddha will forgive me. Many blessings. I'm wishing you a wonderful rest of your hump day. Bye now.